the value of cryptocurrencies is experiencing a precipitous fall. In a matter of days, the so-called stablecoin completely lost all of its value. A cutting-edge cryptocurrency bank has temporarily halted withdrawals, and investors have been driven to the brink of bankruptcy as a result. Now, those working in the cryptocurrency industry are grappling with an even more ominous possibility. It's possible that the worst is yet to come. Welcome to Crypto Coach, where we break down things about cryptocurrency so you can understand them. In this video, we will cover Tether, the market's reliance on a so-called stablecoin. Tether, a company whose namesake currency is a linchpin of crypto trading worldwide, is becoming an increasing source of concern as another potential vulnerability in the cryptocurrency market. Tether, which has long been one of the companies in the industry that has been subjected to the most scrutiny, is currently facing increased pressure from regulators, investors, economists, and a growing legion of skeptics who argue that it could be another domino to fall in an even larger market crash. Tether is really the lifeblood of the crypto ecosystem, said Hilary Allen, a finance expert at American University. If it implodes, then the entire facade falls down. Stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency that are linked to a stable asset, such as the US dollar. Tether is the most prominent issuer of stablecoins. Stablecoins, as opposed to traditional cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ether, whose monetary value can vary widely, are typically designed to keep a price of $1 constant and are backed by large reserves of funds or other forms of financial engineering. Because of this consistency, cryptocurrency traders are able to conduct transactions that are secure and predictable without having to rely on banks or other financial gatekeepers. On the other hand, many of these coins are stable only in name. The failure of Terra USD, a stablecoin with a $1 peg that was algorithmically linked to a sister cryptocurrency called Luna, was a contributing factor in the meltdown of cryptocurrencies that occurred a month ago. The crash was partly triggered by the failure of Terra USD. When the price of Luna dropped significantly, the value of Terra USD followed suit, resulting in a death spiral that jolted the entire market. Tether, on the other hand, asserts that its stablecoins are supported by cash and other traditional assets, which makes its reserves vital to the overall health of the cryptocurrency market. In principle, anyone who wants to convert their Tether holdings into dollars can do so in a speedy and uncomplicated manner. However, according to the company's financial statements, a sizable portion of the company's reserves are invested in commercial paper, which is a form of unsecured corporate debt. These types of financial instruments carry a higher level of risk and are more difficult to quickly convert into cash, particularly when the market is volatile. Tether was penalized a total of $18.5 million in 2021 by the state of New York's Attorney General, who stated that the company had lied about its reserves and referred to it as a stablecoin without stability. Some people believe that Tether is essentially operating as a bank that is only lightly regulated. Traders part with millions of dollars, and in exchange, they receive millions of stablecoins. These stablecoins are then used by the traders to place bets on more volatile cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin or Dogecoin. Because there are currently 70 billion Tether coins in circulation, the market cap of Tether is currently more than 3 times that of Terra USD before the crash. Critics believe that an economic downturn could, in the absolute worst case, set off a run on the cryptocurrency equivalent of a bank. It's possible that traders will all rush to exchange their Ether for dollars at the same time, only for Tether to find that it cannot fulfill the orders. Investors would suffer losses in the billions of dollars, which would force them to liquidate their other cryptocurrency holdings. This would set off a potentially debilitating panic that could spread to markets other than cryptocurrency. A taste of that situation was provided to Tether just a month ago. A flood of investors asked to exchange their Tethers for dollars as cryptocurrency prices fell, which forced the company to pay out about an eighth of its reserves, or $10 billion, over the course of a week and a half. This forced the company to pay out about an eighth of its reserves as cryptocurrency prices fell. There was a momentary deviation from its $1 peg on cryptocurrency exchanges involving Tether. In the end, the company reported that it was able to satisfy the demand. Tether took a victory lap and announced that it had flawlessly navigated through the crisis. According to Paolo Ardoino, Chief Technology Officer of Tether, the crash was the best story that could have happened to Tether. He made this statement in an interview. "We don't mess around, and we take risk management very, very seriously," said the company. Then, on Sunday, the cryptocurrency bank Celsius Network made the announcement that it would be stopping withdrawals, which caused the prices of digital currencies to drop once more. According to Bloomberg News, Tether had invested in Celsius in 2020 and lent it approximately $1 billion worth of tethers. However, the company stated earlier this week that it currently had zero exposure to Celsius other than a small investment in the company. Despite this, investors withdrew approximately $1.6 billion from Tether while the market was in a tailspin. Skeptics are becoming more vocal in their opposition. The collapse of Terra USD highlighted the dangers of having only loosely regulated stablecoins, according to a high-ranking official in the banking industry in the United States, who last month called for new regulations to govern Tether and its competitors. A number of investors are currently moving their money into alternative stablecoins due to the growing concern that the subsequent market downturn may put Tether's reserve capacity to the test. They had enough collateral to weather this run, but that doesn't mean they have enough to weather the next run, said Bruce Mizrach, an economics professor at Rutgers University who studies cryptocurrencies. Even by the often absurd standards of the cryptocurrency industry, the history of Tether is odd. Brock Pierce, a proponent of cryptocurrencies who got his start in the entertainment industry as a child actor in the Mighty Ducks films, established the company in 2014. Later on, he and his business partner, Reeve Collins, transferred control of the company to a man by the name of Giancarlo Devasini, a former plastic surgeon. Mr. Devasini has placed some of Tether's assets in a bank in the Bahamas that is managed by one of the people who created the Inspector Gadget cartoon. Tether has experienced phenomenal expansion. Over the course of the past year, it has issued approximately 50 billion stablecoins, which has more than tripled the total supply. During the course of the interview, Mr. Ardoino was quoted as saying, "If we have to redeem till the last cent, we can do it." The company is run by approximately 50 people across 3 continents: Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The company's chief executive is a Dutch businessman named J.L. van der Velde, and his LinkedIn profile gives the impression that he is based in Hong Kong. However, the company has declined to confirm this information. Both he and Mr. Devasini, who is the chief operating officer, only occasionally have conversations in public. Mr. Ardoino is the person who represents Tether to the public. He says that his co-workers are normal people who are amazed by the growth of the company. Mr. Ardoino stated that the original team didn't think initially that it would possibly go so big. They were not ready to live their lives in the public eye. There is not a single negative aspect to it. There have been times when Tether has insisted that its stablecoins are completely backed by dollars from the United States. But the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, dismissed those allegations as lies in the previous year. A cryptocurrency exchange that was affiliated with Tether experienced a loss of $850 million due to the failure of a business transaction a few years ago. According to the findings of MS James' investigation, in order to cover the losses, the exchange known as Bitfinex took loans from Tether's reserves. As a result, the stablecoin was only partially backed. Tether reached a settlement with the Attorney General of New York, wherein the company paid a total of $18.5 million in fines but did not admit any wrongdoing. A spokesperson for Tether explained that the issue with the company's reserves was due to a communications misstep. Only 1/4 of the time during a 26-month sample period between 2016 and 2018, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission discovered that Tether had sufficient reserves in its accounts. This discovery was made in October of last year. The commission was awarded the sum of $41 million in fines from the company. Since the settlement in New York, Tether has been issuing periodic statements in which it discloses the components that make up its reserves. But the company's statements haven't done much to dispel the widespread skepticism. Tether disclosed about a month ago that approximately $20 billion worth of its reserves were made up of commercial paper, which is a decrease of $4 billion from the amount reported in February. Additionally, it increased its exposure to money market funds, which may invest in commercial paper, from $3 billion to approximately $7 billion during this time period. Tether disclosed additional information, including the fact that $5 billion of its reserves were held in other investments, which included digital currencies. The report, it was argued by detractors, was essentially meaningless because the project does not yet possess the kind of stability that the majority of investors anticipate. A spokeswoman for Tether stated that the company's portfolio of commercial paper would gradually decrease to zero without any incurring of losses. Tether is still, by a wide margin, the most widely used stablecoin. However, the number of tethers that are currently in circulation has decreased by more than 7% over the course of the past month. The use of USDC, a stablecoin that is ostensibly completely backed by cash and US treasuries, has seen a roughly 4% increase in circulation recently. Worries about Tether have started to surface in the capital of the United States. Last month, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen testified in front of Congress and called for increased regulation of stablecoins. During her testimony, she pointed out that Tether had deviated from its $1 peg and made the call. She explained that the proliferation of stablecoins brings about the same kind of risks that we have known for centuries in connection with bank runs. Mr. Ardoina stated that Tether was eager to collaborate with authorities in the development of a global framework that governs the disclosures that stablecoin issuers are required to make about their reserves. Tether, on the other hand, has resisted more aggressive proposals that would subject it to regulatory requirements comparable to those that are imposed on traditional banks. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss a video.